I am now going to review the final problem on this worksheet, and by far the most difficult, I think, asking you to look at the Clery data and examine how many students were cited for alcohol violations at universities of different type, and using that sector description category to do that. So here is our Clery data. And I'm going to start by highlighting the corner, data, pivot table. So we know this is a pivot table problem here. Okay, so we're going to boil down that huge spreadsheet of data into a smaller table with rows for each of the university types. There's the sector description in the row. And so now the question is, what do we want the machine to tell us about each of these units? Well, first thing, let's have it tell us the number of schools in each of these units. And institution name, count of institution names. So it is as though it is dealing every single row in the other spreadsheet into an individual stack, an individual row here, and then counting how many institution names are in that stack. So since everyone has a name, that should be the number of schools in each of these categories. And notice I'm putting these in the values area here. So the next thing we want to know about each of those schools is, well, how many students go? Count of students. And what we don't want count, and we don't actually really want to know about each of the schools. We want to know about this row overall, the total here. So this is the sum of all the students who go to that type of school. The number of students in this type of school and the sum of students in this type of school. Next, let's just look at 2008 for now, just to simplify this. I'm sorry, wrong one. Shouldn't be filter 2008. Look at 2008. Again, not the count, which will look a lot like that number, right? And here is the sum. All right, so now what we have here is the total number of students in each of these types of universities and the total number of liquor violations in each of these types. Now notice we use totals here and not averages. The reason is that we don't want to get in a situation later where we're doing an average of an average. And so working with sums for the whole category keeps that a lot cleaner. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is this pivot table is cool, but for the next step I want something where we can actually edit and do a little math on, do a little relabeling. I'm just going to copy the data that we want. Control C. Edit. Paste special values. So that was copy, edit, paste special values. And this gives us this nice table which doesn't have any of that green stuff, doesn't have any of that formatting, and where we can kind of change names on and stuff, which is important now. So we know what the row labels are. Count of institution names, all right, so that's clear. So the sum of total, what that really means is, well, it means students. The students who go to this type of school. Liquor violations. So if we want to know how many students of this many students at that kind of school got a liquor violation, I'm going to label it a violation. Receiving a violation, I think, is punishment, right? So the formula here is going to be equals, to tell the machine that we are doing a formula. So this is sort of the one in how many students formulation. And so to do that, it is the number of students, which is like the population, the total, divided by the number of violations. You know, and of course that's not going to work for this one because there's no students and there are no violations, and you know, it's the worst category to look at the top. But if we did our formula correctly, whoops, when we apply it down here, we'll get some numbers that are meaningful. And let me zoom this in so you can see a bit better. So here, of course, Miami, we are at a public four-year or above university. Nationwide, of the, I don't know, I put the commas in there, the millions of students, you know what? Let's even sort this to make this easier for us to look at. I'm going to highlight data, filter, right? Yeah. All right, so look at this nationally now. At public four-year and above universities, now look at this. There's almost the same number of students at public and private four-year schools, huh? Private nonprofit. And the rate of violations at those kind of schools are the same. Actually, not even so different for that type of school, although there aren't really that many in that category. For-profit schools, as you might expect, many less violations, and you know, for-profit schools tend to be, well, very different institutions in Miami. Barber colleges and beautician schools and institutions like that. A lot of trade schools are private. Okay, well, that is the answer. See you soon.